So Bill Maher did a town hall on CNN with Van Jones. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, I think Van Jones was a dick to my buddy David Pakman, and so that made me dislike him. But as far as CNN shows go, he has one of the best. Nobody's ever going to top Anthony Bourdain on CNN. I think his show, even though it's more culture-focused and food-focused, you learn a lot more from that show, and it's more entertaining than any other show. But it might be the case that Anderson Cooper. Yeah, okay. It might be the case that Van Jones' show is second, because he's done some stuff where I watched, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty interesting. So he had Bill Maher on for a town hall, and I wanted to play a little clip from it here for you, and then we'll come back and discuss it.
You got a lot of people through the Bush years, but frankly. Now you've got the Trump years.
Oh, the Bush years. I gave Obama $1 million. You know that,
yes.
Right? His package.
Yes.
I would happily give that $1 million right now to Mitt Romney if he would take over the country. I gave it to prevent Mitt Romney from being president.
And now you're begging
Mitt Romney to be president.
Yes.
I will become a Mormon. How about that? I will become a Mormon and give you $1 million, Mitt Romney, if you will please take over the country.
Oh, my goodness.
So I don't know to what extent he's serious and to what extent he's joking. I mean, he is a comedian. He's a comedian and a political commentator. He's like a hybrid. So I don't know if you talk to him and he's like, oh, look, jokes aside, yeah, I think Trump is worse, but would I really give $1 million to Mitt Romney? Of course not. Do I even think Mitt Romney is that much better than Trump? No. I don't know if you get him, one-on-one and he's like, yeah, the comedic effect is what I'm trying to do. Or if he's serious, or if he really means not even necessarily the $1 million part, but that he thinks that, Donald Trump is so much worse than Mitt Romney would be as president. But even for Bush, he said there, the Bush, quote, the Bush years, I wish, is what he said. Look, this is a line of argument that it actually really gets under my skin and pisses me off. Because I don't think it's anywhere near true. This idea that the rest of the Republican Party is sane and reasonable, and Donald Trump, he's just such an outlier, and he's such a crazy person, and everybody else compared to him is just, it's a cakewalk. Outside of Donald Trump axing TPP, I think virtually every other decision he made is exactly the kind of decision that Mitt Romney would have made. So, Mitt Romney even kind of admitted that recently. He said Trump is, quote, off to a strong start. So, Bill, you think Mitt Romney's so much better, but Mitt Romney himself is like, yeah, I kind of like Trump now. The only thing that Trump did that I'm certain Mitt Romney wouldn't have done is axing TPP. So that actually makes Trump a little better than these other Republicans. Now, look, in some ways, he's more brazen and he's worse. I'm not sure. Would Romney have done the 7-nation, immigration / de facto Muslim ban? I lean towards no, but I really don't know. I think there's a decent chance he would have done that or something really similar. And maybe he would have done it in a more sly way where it wouldn't have been as big of an impact and there wouldn't have been people crowding the streets. And by the way, a court just yesterday slapped that down and said, no, Trump, you're wrong, the Ninth Circuit Court. So now Trump is probably going to appeal all the way to the Supreme Court to try to keep this ban in place. But point is, on virtually every decision, wanting Goldman Sachs' Steve Mnuchin for Treasury Secretary, that is exactly like something Mitt Romney would have done. Representative Tom Price for Health and Human Services. That is exactly like something Mitt Romney would have done because Tom Price is an ultra-right-winger and because he's corrupt and he invested in medical companies and then proposed bills to make their stock go up. Jeff Sessions for Attorney General, exactly somebody like Mitt Romney would pick. You go down the list. Even Puzder, Puzder, of course, for fast food CEO for Labor Secretary, definitely like somebody Romney would pick. But even DeVos, with Christian fundamentalist, school privatizer, who bought her position by donating to all the Republicans, Mitt Romney definitely would have picked somebody like DeVos, if not DeVos herself. So this idea, I want this idea to die. This idea of like, you know, Trump is so above and beyond, and I, Bill Maher, have cried wolf on the other Republicans. Hey, Bill, you just said, quote, the Bush years, I wish. You'd rather have Bush back over Trump. Again, the one thing I'm sure Bush would have done that Trump didn't do is TPP. Now, outside of that, Donald Trump, I think, is crazy and wrong for advertising the fact that we're human rights violators and we're an empire, and he says we're going to torture, and he says we're going to take the oil, and so Bush was more tricky about covering it up. But remember, we did an illegal war against a country that didn't attack us, and we killed hundreds of thousands of civilians, occupied them, set up extrajudicial prisons, tortured innocent people, violated international law, passed the Patriot Act, which ripped up the Constitution, no more protection from unreasonable search and seizure, it expanded NSA spying. I don't know how Bush could have been worse, other than... Yep, nope, I don't know. I was trying to think of something. It came up blank. Oh, other than, like, wearing the empire on his sleeve like Trump does. Like, Bush did all the imperialistic garbage, but he just didn't say, we're torturing. He said, it's enhanced interrogation, Dick. That's what Dick told me. We're not taking the oil, even though we're taking the oil. Trump is just like, yeah, I'm just going to say we're torturing and taking the oil. So other than being, like, arrogant in his far right-wing imperialism and neoconservatism, Bush policy-wise was pretty much as bad as it gets, man. So for you to do, and I don't think Maher even realizes he's doing this, but for you to do, like, a rehabilitation of, or a whitewashing, or, you know, you put a spit shine on the record of somebody who is probably one of the worst, if not the worst presidents in U.S. history. I think it's disgusting, and I think you're doing it just for partisan reasons because you want to make the argument Trump is the worst that there's ever been, and, you know, this is different, and this is special, and this is this, and this is that. But, Bill, the entire Republican Party is in lockstep with him. The only area where he bucks the trend is axing TPP, which makes him better in some ways. So, I just don't get the idea that, you know, Mitt Romney or George Bush are so much better when the policies speak for themselves. And the policies show they're just as bad, if not a little worse. So, but I make this long argument, have this discussion because I think Maher just comes across as hacky when he makes arguments like this. You know, it just smells like standard MSNBC level garbage horseshit. That's like, you know, I will say anything against Trump, and anything against Trump is by definition valid because it is against Trump. So even if I fudge the facts, even if I pretend like, you know, like he's a puppet to Vladimir Putin and use shitty arguments against him, like it's okay because it's against Trump. No, don't be like the right-wingers. Where people on the right, what they'll do is, like, literally anything they could think of against Obama or Democrats, they will run with. He's a Muslim. He's Kenyan. You know, he's Kenyan. Whatever dumbass fucking thing they can come up with, just go with it. Throw mud. If it sticks, it sticks. But that's what makes them intellectually vapid morons. So I don't want our side to do that. Whereas puppet to Putin, that's what I'm concerned about. There's enough to critique without having to make leaps of logic and make shit up. Yeah, he's a puppet to Putin. My concern is the opposite, that if anything, you know, people will be so insistent that he is a puppet to Putin that Trump will say, oh yeah, I'll show you I'm not. Deploy the troops. And then, oh shit, we're in World War III. So, I don't know, just don't use any argument because it's against Trump. Use rational, intelligent arguments. I spend all day, every day ripping Trump, but I'm doing it based on real policy things and real things that he's done that are egregious and beyond the pale and ridiculous. There's so much actual shit to attack him for there. Why go to shit like saying, he's way worse than George Bush and Mitt Romney, and he's the worst ever? People look at that and they go, pipe down, fuckface. You know, pump your brakes. You're going a little too far. So, you know, Bill Maher, I got nothing against you, man, but use better arguments. There, I said it.